remember when Snow White was really simply about a girl getting kissed while she was unconscious and having a good time with animals? Certainly not any longer. From this point forward, it is all about political strife, viral flops, co-star drama, and Donald Trump in some way. Compared to an episode of Love Island, this reboot has more unexpected turns in the storyline. As we discuss today, we are going to speak about how Rachel Zegler bungled Disney's bag so badly that it bounced into another tax bracket, and how her co-star Andrew Burnap is quietly throwing shade from the sidelines. Despite the fact that she was hired to bring back the charm of Disney, she ended up turning the kingdom into a PR dumpster fire. Let's jump right in. On the other hand, when Disney decided to cast Rachel Zegler in the role of Snow White, they felt they were cooking like in full Ratatouille mode. Having recently been in West Side Story, she possessed the appearance of a Disney princess, and she was prepared to provide Generation Z with its very own fairy tale icon. We received the main character via a Twitter post that was headed "How to Ruin a Studio in 10 Interviews or Less." However, rather than a contemporary princess, we acquired her from that thread. If you want to know something else, she didn't only fumble the bag though. She did a TikTok dance on top of the ashes after she had caught it on fire, thrown it into a marsh, and then set it ablaze. Let's go back in time. 1937 was the year that Snow White was first released. It was a classic, ageless, and original princess. The prince was, without a doubt, a little bit of a stalker. Suddenly, he appeared in the woods and began singing like a Disney Drake. However, Rachel did not only refer to it as dated, her scathing criticism of the prince was so direct that she referred to him as a guy who literally stalks her.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Subsequently, she went on to say, all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. It is really lovely because the love story is not at all about what is going on in the first place. In addition, until the year 2024, it is anyone's guess as to whether or not she will find love along the way. Any and all of Andrew's scenes might be eliminated. Who will know? Hollywood darling, here we come. But it's one of those things. It's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self. And she meets a lot of people along the way who make the journey really fantastic. It's one of those things. Excuse me? Consider yourself to be Andrew Burnap. The man has been working hard in the theater for years, and he finally gets a role in Snow White. He immediately believes that this is his big break. But his co-star goes on a press tour and drags his character around as if he were a Tinder date who ghosted her. The worst aspect about it all, a prince was not the only thing she roasted. It was essentially her assertion that the entire love tale was inconsequential. While everything is going on, Andrew is in the neighborhood asking, "Am I a joke to you?" That being said, Andrew Burnap is not only a random performer here. This guy is the real deal. When he was cast in the role of Shakespeare, his real-life friends and family members remarked that he sounded like a goat outside when I got the call. My life seemed to be about to undergo a transformation. In fact, it did, but not in the way that he had hoped it would. Due to the fact that by the time the movie was released, Andrew had already been taken away by Thanos from the promotional cycle. There are no celebrity couple images, no adorable behind-the-scenes anecdotes, and nothing else. In her Disney origin narrative, Rachel acted for the most part as if he were a non-playable character. Some people with knowledge of the situation even asserted that she wanted his scenes cut down because they did not contribute to her story. Please do not confuse this with the Rachel Zegler show. This is Snow White. Take it easy. On the other hand, the drama did not end with Andrew, I'm so sorry, mainly due to the fact that Gal Gadot, also known as Wonder Woman and the Evil Queen in this remake, is the next person to be targeted for elimination. At this point, the situation goes from oops to girl, what are you doing? Where it is now, while Rachel was in the midst of promoting a Disney film that was said to be worth $270 million, she made the decision to publish a political comment about X's support for Palestine. Cool, free speech and all, but what exactly is the issue? Gadot is of Israeli descent. As a member of the Israeli army, she served. During the press tour for a children's film, you already have two starring actresses who are on opposing sides of a fight that is taking place on a global scale. What could possibly go wrong? Well, it would appear that everything. Threats of death began to be made against Gal. A heightened level of protection was required for Disney. Rachel received a constant stream of calls from executives, as if she had missed a deadline for a collective project. Apparently, producer Mark Platt traveled all the way to New York in order to have a face-to-face conversation with her. It's like when your mother says, "We need to talk," but you know that it's because you posted something stupid on Instagram. When you factor in Rachel's rage on Trump, you have effectively finished a PR disaster speedrun. She added the following: made Trump supporters, Trump voters, and Trump himself never know peace. And then she continued to go over the deep end, referring to them as a deep, deep sickness.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see. Dumb things I've said, I don't absolve myself from that. I'm not sitting here being like, I'm 21, please forgive me. Like, the stupid I've said and done is stupid. But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
Also, I'm over here like, do you know who purchases tickets to Disney World? The parents. Do you have any idea who any of them voted for? It's true. Snow White is being boycotted by 50% of the country before it has even been released in theaters. It's a movie aimed at children, but I'm all for having conversations about politics. What are you thinking by incorporating politics into a Disney picture about Snow White? Simply said, it is not logical at all. The curse had already been placed on Snow White by the time it was dropped. Nobody was in the theaters. There was no one else present when Rachel went to see her own movie, so she recorded herself going to see it. The birthday party was held at Chuck E. Cheese, and it was a melancholy occasion. Is that video clip, however, it did not become viral in a positive way. It was as if she was seeing herself fail in 4K because everyone made fun of her.
Wow, people love me.
Or consider the scenario in which you arrive at the premiere of your own film and the only thing that is more vacant than the seats is the chemistry that you share with your fellow actors. Please allow me to return for a moment to Andrew Burnap. Following the failure, he took a dip, without any appearances or publicity. There are other admirers who claim that he has been quietly working to remove the movie off his resume. Is it possible to blame him? The fairy tale he signed up for ended up being a Greek tragedy, and he was cast in it. Apparently, Andrew even started leaking behind-the-scenes information, such as Rachel allegedly trying to control how scenes were shot, making edits, and wanting a character to be a dominant figure with no prince, no rescue, and no romance. Just Snow White serving CEO energy while the dwarfs filed taxes in the background for the film. And here's something else. There's a scene in the movie where Andrew's character unexpectedly shouts, "Jonathan, princess!" It's almost like a small emasculation comic moment, but people started dubbing it a Hollywood humiliation ritual. Listen, I'm not sure if that's accurate, but it seems like Andrew's job has shifted from that of a romantic lead to that of a walking punchline. While this is going on, Rachel Zegler's Hollywood representative is currently in the intensive care unit. It has been stated that studios are afraid to cast her at this time because they consider her to be a liability. She is not particularly controversial, rather, she is exhausting. Imagine playing a role in Disney's decision to not produce any more remakes. Following this, it was rumored that Tangled was cancelled, Rapunzel was subjected to a clipping because Snow White was unable to refrain from tweeting. And if you assumed that Rachel and Gal had reconciled at the end of the press trip, you would be wrong. No way. During the premiere in Los Angeles, they avoided each other like former classmates at a reunion of high school classmates. Isolated at Disneyland, Gal promoted the film on her own. Rachel decided to promote it on her own, as if she and another person were attending the same wedding but refusing to be photographed together. Rachel called out everyone with the exception of Gal Gadot in the post she made to say goodbye. You know it's a bad sign when you forget to thank your co-star but end up thanking the grip man. In a later statement, Gal stated that there was a lack of understanding behind the scenes, which is Hollywood lingo for "I'm never working with her again."
The most important thing when you are working on a film is teamwork, and when you have characters like the Evil Queen and Snow White, you expect teamwork to play a role in the creative process when you are trying to put something special together. We didn't really have teamwork, and there were many setbacks that we had to deal with during this entire process, and I just found that to be very exhausting.
At this point, what did we discover? The attempt by Disney to cook with this remake was unsuccessful, and the result was that the fire alarm went off. It's possible that Rachel Zegler, who was previously considered to be Disney's future leader, has just destroyed every bridge on her way out of the company. Andrew Burnap was unable to secure the part that would have launched his career. The departure of Gal Gadot was accompanied by additional trauma. What about the audience? Sure, all we wanted was for the story to have a happy conclusion and some animals that sang. Instead, we were treated to a cringe on TikTok, political mayhem, and a prince who was removed from his own film. And then, in the end, Rachel's plan, of course, did not turn out to be successful. A failure was the movie. Nobody was in the theaters. What Disney was trying to market was not being purchased by the audience. And at this point, they are acting as if the entire affair never took place. Snow White is being secretly removed from theaters, removed from shelves, and erased from Disney's marketing like a failed group effort. This event is taking place in the background. Only radio silence was heard. There was no final push, no goodbye trip. Moreover, this is not the end of it. Not only has the film been postponed or censored, but it has also been completely prohibited as a whole in certain countries, such as Lebanon. Streaming, screenings, and distribution are all prohibited. Not only did Disney fail to succeed in the United States, but it also failed to succeed on a global basis. It wasn't only a public relations catastrophe, there was a complete and total breakdown. After being considered Disney's next Golden Girl, Rachel became the face of one of the company's most significant flops in the modern era. At this point, the project is being pushed to the background. Her name is being excluded from any further casting discussions. And the rest of Hollywood is keeping a careful eye on the situation and making mental notes about what not to do. Is that a fairy tale then? The opposite is true. A cautionary tale was presented here. The fact that no amount of computer-generated imagery, press tours, or rebranding can preserve a story that nobody desired in the first place is something that Disney has recently discovered the hard way. In any case, I hope you all had a good time. Tell me what you think of Rachel Zegler's career in the comments section. Is it over, or is there still a chance that she can save it? Please like, subscribe, and comment.